Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to take a look at another brand new addition to this game, which is this Porsche 911 RSR. As usual, to obtain this new vehicle, all you have to do is complete 20 points of this week's festival playlist, which is the spring season, which as you can see I've done by doing the trial, the 2 Event Lab events, and the 4 monthly rivals at the beginning of the series. Just like the Ford GT from the first week of this particular festival playlist, this car has featured in other Forza titles, most recently the new Motorsport game, and just like most of the cars in this Apex All-Stars update, it has a ridiculously long full name. This car is in fact called the 2017 Porsche number 92 Porsche GT Team 911 RSR. This particular racer, though, produces 503 horses and 462 torques from its 4-litre engine, which, unlike a normal 911, is actually much closer to the middle of the car than all the way out over the rear like it is on one of those. This amount of power, though, is also substantially less than the Ford GT race car that we got, which produces 530 horses and 670 torques. As with all GT spec racers, this Porsche is of course rear-wheel drive. I was surprised to find though, even though it is rear-wheel drive, that it suffered from oversteer more than anything else similar that I've driven in this game before, despite its slick tyres and much aerodynamics. Overall, it weighs 1,300 kilos, which is 20 less than the Ford, giving it the same overall PI rating as that car of S2 910 in Horizon 5. Just like all the other race cars in this game, there is only one manufacturer livery, but there is of course all of your usual normal colours as well. And just like all the other race cars, the upgrade shop is rather limited, although not as much as with the Drag Racer and the Time Attack car. There are, for example, some engine swaps. There's a flat 6 twin turbo, and there's a 4.6 litre V8 hybrid, which I think is from the 918. So there's a couple of options there. You can also all-wheel drive swap it if you want to, and twin turbo it. There's of course no aero because it already has all of the aero. You can put some worse tyres on it if you so wish, which as you saw does drop it into S1. You can do your usual tyre widths, track widths, and, well, everything else you'd expect. You can change your transmission to have more gears, put a lighter driveline in, and put a rally or drift differential in the car. The only power upgrade is the restrictor plates, as with a lot of the race cars, which means you can take power up to 730 horsepower with the standard engine if you so wish. What I think we'll do though is fiddle about with some upgrades a bit and try and drop it into S1 class. So with an all-wheel drive swap and some heavier wheels, the Porsche was down into S1 class, and with this setup applied we headed into some Horizon Open racing. We did though encounter another 911 RSR during some of our races that appeared to be equipped with rally tyres and seemed to perform better than this one did. This version of the car, being all-wheel drive, didn't oversteer like it did stock, but did, probably rather predictably, suffer from some understeer instead, which did take a bit of getting used to. In a couple of the races as well, Jerry did jump into the Ford GT to kind of see how that compared. Overall, this car wasn't bad, and the rally-tired version was the fastest car in several of the races, but with my set of upgrades, it wasn't great, even though there were only 2 upgrades or downgrades. It was okay to drive and not too slow, but it wasn't anything special either. So that was Horizon Open. But we did also, with the stock version of the car, drag race this new 911 RSR against a road-legal GT3 RS.
Agatabe. Bye.
And finally, after this, I took this stock version of the RSR up the Vulcan Sprint to see how it performed. Just like before, it kept kicking the back out though, so I did struggle a bit, brushing a couple of walls, but did manage a 241.6, which unsurprisingly is slower than the two much higher rated cars that I've taken up this hill climb before. Given it wasn't the most pleasant thing to drive up here though, I think that the time it set wasn't too bad. And that is going to do it for today's video, taking a first look at this new to Horizon Porsche 911 RSR. Stock, it did suffer from oversteer more than I expected, and wasn't the nicest thing to drive, and upgraded with my tune on it, or downgraded. It did suffer from understeer, mostly because of the all-wheel drive swap I think, but potentially looking at that other car, a tune with rally tyres, maybe left rear-wheel drive with some other upgrades, might have been a better way to go. It is still cool to have some race cars here in the Horizon side of the Forza series though. It's just kind of a shame that so many of them were in that paid car pack, and only this and the Ford GT were in the playlist, especially given they're coming across from another Forza title, and they're not brand new to the series. Do though let me know your thoughts on this brand new addition to the game, but for today's video that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next one very soon.